Let's get straight into it. Are there any products you should not sell? Yes, absolutely. Especially if you're new to selling on Amazon and don't have much experience yet. If you pick the wrong product type or category, you're creating tons of problems for yourself before you've even started selling. So, now, before we even start working on the market research process, let's take a look at products you should stay away from. Electronics. They can be very tricky to work with because you'll face 1. DOA, dead on arrival issues. It's just a fact. A percentage of your order will arrive faulty by default from your supplier, which means that to avoid customer dissatisfaction, you'll have to test each and every unit before you ship it out. Or, if you don't do this, be ready to deal with bad feedback and reviews. 2. Warranty. As a business seller on Amazon, you're obligated by law to provide a warranty. This means that you have to deal with an item that malfunctions even 10 months after purchase. 3. CE certificates. To import electronics from China, they will need to be certified. Many suppliers in China won't have these certificates in place. Many will tell you that they have them when in reality they don't and they're just photoshopped. To be 100% sure, always verify these certificates on your own. You can do this by asking the supplier to send you a scanned version of the certificate, which will show the details of the testing company that issued the certificate. Then, you need to contact that testing company and verify that the certificate is genuine. Some companies like TUV will have an online facility to verify that the certificate is authentic. Either way, you need to verify this. Do not simply trust what a supplier tells you. 4. Battery issues. If the item is battery-powered, there are many issues that come with that, including shipping restrictions or restrictions on FBA use. 5. Complexity of use. Depending on how complex the item is, you'll simply have to deal with more customer support issues, as there will be people who buy the item but have no tech knowledge whatsoever. Then, you'll have to help them with various technical issues on a regular basis. Just another layer of tasks you probably don't want to do. For these 5 reasons alone, I think electronics is way too risky a product group to deal with. Sure, this also means that many people stay away from this category, which leaves more opportunities for savvy, hard-working people who are ready to deal with all of this. But you have to really ask yourself whether you're up for it. Clothing. One of the most, if not the trickiest products to deal with. There are many problems that usually come with selling clothing items. Large MOQs. Clothing items in China are manufactured in massive quantities, and this usually means that if you want your own branded clothing items made in factories, they will ask for very high minimum order quantities like 500 or even 1,000 pieces per design and size. This essentially means buying several thousand pieces as your first order, which won't be possible with small budgets of just a few £1,000s. Sizing issues. Even if you create very good sizing guides and charts, people are different, and you'll have to deal with lots of returns simply because of an item not fitting the customer. Product photography. Clothing only looks good in images if it's on a real person. This means that product photography becomes a very expensive task, as you'll need to hire a model to do shoots for you. Design. General clothing items, such as skirts, dresses, shirts and similar, they're very subjective design and style-wise. What you may like, 9 other people won't, and vice versa. You would have to have a very good understanding of the product group and the customers you're targeting to pick styles and designs that your market is looking for. Overstock. With so many designs and sizes, seasons changing, there's no way to avoid overstock, and it will affect your bottom line. Obviously, you can and should actively monitor stock, sell-through rates, etc., and plan discounts and sales ahead of time. But again, this is an extra step and hassle that comes with selling clothing. Why bother? Returns. Clothing has the highest return rate across any other product category. It's not unusual to get a 10% or even 20% return rate in the clothing industry. Just think about all the extra hassle and loss this creates. You really need to work on very healthy margins to make it work, and constantly hold the pulse on stock levels and customer trends. As you can see, these are some serious problems, and something not many of you will be able to handle effectively. So, if you don't feel confident enough in this sector, stay away from clothing altogether. If you still do want to deal with clothing, do it in a more specific manner. Look for specialized niches within this category. Products like beekeeping overalls, wakeboarding gloves, kids' leotards, and so on. Look for products that have a limited number of sizes and styles, and ones that are not that competitive. These niche-type clothing items will also be much easier to advertise online outside of Amazon's ecosystem, via Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and other sources, as you'll know the specific customer profile to target. Shoes. Very similar to what I already said about clothing, the main problems with selling shoes are large MOQs, sizing issues, design, overstock, returns, and quality issues. Quality issues could actually be one of the biggest challenges here, as you can't really test a shoe quickly and see how well it's made. You have to wear it for at least a few weeks to see if it's produced at the highest quality standard, stitched and glued together properly. And of course, sizing too. The industry's average is about a 30% return rate on shoes. 30%! Can you imagine the extra hassle this creates when every third order is returned to you due to it being the wrong size? Yeah, not something you would want to deal with. Just like with clothing, factories in China require very large quantities of 500 plus units per size to be manufactured. Which means that if you need, say, 6 sizes, which is not a lot, it would mean you have to order 3,000 pairs as a minimum order. Even at just $3 a pair, that is $9,000, and a shoe that costs $3, even in China, won't get you far. Edible products. This may not be as strict a rule as the others, but depending on your location and specifically the regulations in your country, food products could come with additional regulation and certification, especially if you plan on importing such products from China. I personally would never risk ordering food products from China, as I don't think manufacturers in China can guarantee the level of quality we're used to in the Western world. Plus, there's also that customer doubt about the quality of your product if it's manufactured in China. I can't even remember any edible item I have bought in the past that was manufactured in China. Yes, you could look for a UK or EU-based manufacturer, but another problem is that food items are usually very low margin unless it's something very specific or unique like gluten-free products, sports nutrition, and similar. But they all come with the problem of short shelf life. Not necessarily a deal breaker, but you should ask yourself whether you want to deal with a product that expires after 6 or 12 months. This always creates more pressure on your business activities and affects your bottom line. When we think about products with a short shelf life, food items are not the only ones that come with this problem. Many liquid products, such as glue or other chemicals, can often have a limited shelf life. Even simple products like lipstick could be affected by this. Again, while this is not the biggest of problems listed here, I personally like to avoid products with a limited shelf life. Kids' toys. If you're based in the UK or European Union, you must be aware that kids' toys can't be simply imported from China and sold online just like that. You, as the importer, need to certify these products to comply with various health and safety regulations, and without repeating myself, this is an expensive and time-consuming process. Now, if you have found a genuine toy idea and it's really in high demand and you see great potential with it, you could still go with it. Just make sure you comply with all the rules, get the product certified, label it properly, etc., to avoid expensive legal bills and fines. The best way to get information on what you need is to contact testing houses. Just do a Google search for them in your area and they will inform you about what tests are needed and how much they will cost. Chemicals. This is another product group that is highly regulated and may require you to do certification to comply with UK and EU laws. I can't give any specific advice, as these rules will depend on the item in question, but make sure you research this properly before ordering anything from China. Also, if you deal with chemicals, you should have a dedicated storage area where kids can't get access, and it will also probably need to comply with specific fire and safety regulations. All in all, chemicals is definitely something I wouldn't advise dealing with, unless you have a deep personal interest or professional knowledge. Oversized products. The whole Amazon Sharks concept relies on you using Amazon's fulfillment system for storing and dispatching your goods. While FBA allows and even has special oversized item limits, I wouldn't really recommend people new to selling on Amazon or those with small budgets getting into selling oversized items. Again, it just means a lot of extra hassle and costs that you can't properly calculate in advance. If you're more experienced and have a decent budget to work with, large and bulky items can still be profitable, mainly because competition for these items is usually less. But still, make sure you check the item's size and ensure it's not too big for FBA. One of the biggest problems with these oversized items is that you'll pay quite a lot in Amazon monthly storage fees, so ideally, if you have a small warehouse of your own, you can keep the majority of your stock there and send it to Amazon as and when needed, a few pallets at a time to keep those storage costs down to a minimum. Design-driven products. This is rather a warning than a rule. Do not deal with design-driven products if you don't have any knowledge or skills, and simply put, good taste when it comes to products that are valued and sold based on design. A vase is a vase, right? No. At least if you think it is, you should not sell vases. There are thousands of different vases available to buy on Alibaba, but not all will sell well. You should really know what kind of designs sell best. This will apply to many product categories, including all interior products, bedding products, wall decals, and lots of other products. This doesn't mean you should stay away from such products though. As you'll find later on in this course, my newest Amazon business is all based on products where design is the main selling point. But keep in mind, I have long-term experience in this field and therefore have the knowledge to deal with such items. If you like design-based products and have a passion for them, they can be great products to get into and have very good margins, especially if you source unique and interesting products. Going back to our vase example, they can be bought very cheaply from China, and no one really knows how much they should be sold for if it looks good enough. Design products will also be covered in detail in the bonus module of this course, Manufacturing Paradise, where I will teach you how to use this concept to manufacture your own unique products in-house using your own equipment. But if you are the person who's not good with design and generally doesn't have good taste, then please, do not deal with design-driven products, as you may end up with tons of stock no one likes and no one buys. Cheap everyday products. The last category of goods I would recommend you avoid are cheap everyday products that are freely available in offline stores. These are products that people are generally not willing to pay a premium price for. This would mean products like simple cheap pens and pencils, straws, napkins, hangers, paper plates, and so on. All those cheap, simple products you can find in any Tesco store. Usually margins are very low on items like these, and you would need to buy in massive quantities to even stay competitive. Some items you still wouldn't be able to compete with on price, as many such goods are sold offline on such low margins that with Amazon and FBA fees, you simply wouldn't make a profit no matter what you do. But I personally like to look at such simple products and see what kind of specialized, more expensive versions people do buy online. Let's take straws again as an example. Maybe there are some super funky, very large or long straws that could sell well online. Maybe glass straws. Sounds weird, right? But as you can see, There is such a thing, and hundreds of packs a month are being sold. Or say special reusable straws made out of silicone. I bet these will have much higher margins than your ordinary 100 pack that sells for £2 in Tesco. And in many cases, you can take such normal, ordinary products and find an angle or version of the product that could be suitable for selling on Amazon. Okay, these are all the product categories I can think of that I would recommend staying away from, especially if this is your first online business and you don't have much experience with all of this. You can always get complicated with your second or third product, but it's better to be a little more cautious with your first. That way you can see that you can do it, that you can make sales and turn a profit. Gain that confidence in your skills and then look into something more complex, if you want to. There's no reason you ever need to do so though. There are plenty of Amazon millionaires out there selling just basic, simple products. As I explained, some people, like me, thrive on products and categories that are hard to get into, hard to get right, as obviously this does increase the barrier of entry and limits the potential competition levels. Everyone can import basic products from China, but it takes more effort, time, patience, and money to, say, create a unique vase that has a built-in thermometer or clock, for example. And I stress example. I'm not suggesting that as a potential product in any way. Again, everything is possible. It all comes down to how badly you want it. If you feel that you have what it takes, these can be great opportunities. Now, after all this negativity, it's time to look at the perfect product, the dream product to sell on Amazon. I'll see you in the next video.